much. Thanks for that. What a good-looking crowd. Nice to have you here. How many is your first time to see me? Raise your hand. Let me know where you are. First time. Where are you? Oh, a lot of you. That's good. How many of you never seen me before? Raise your hand. Never seen me before. Oh, the same ones. Oh, that's good. That's good. Who's from out of town? Raise your hand. Anybody out of town? Where are you? Oh, there. How many of you never raise your hand when somebody asks you to raise your hand? Raise your hand. Where are you? Oh, there they are. How many of you like your toilet paper off the top of the roll instead of the back of the roll? Where are you? I love those people there, man, because you do the same thing I do. I know you do. You go to somebody's house, and you don't like how they have that toilet paper hanging, so you take it off and turn it the way that you like it, don't you? Because you know they go in there the next morning and go, man, it turned over again. How's it do that all the time? It's like, well, I think about weird things like that. I got a great little brain. I'd like to slice off part of it and share with you. I love to see kids in the crowd. Lots of kids here tonight, and lots of moms and dads, lots of grandmas and grandpas, too, as I look around here. They're more fun than the kids have the time. But let me tell you how I got started in this. I was a little kid, like a bunch of you guys are here, and I was over at my grandma and grandpa's house, weird enough. And my grandpa says, hey, I need some help up in the attic. Come help me out. And I climbed up these old wooden stairs, and he says, you see that box way back there? I need that box. And man, there was cobwebs and spider webs everywhere. And I remember climbing through all those spider webs, and there was a big old box of books. And I blew the dust off of it, and the book on the top, it said magic. That's all it said was magic. I said, where'd you find that book? He said, I forget where he says, that's been in the attic for 30 years. I said, do you mind if I have that? And I picked up that old magic book, and on the front page, there was a little pencil sketch of the magic guy. You know, he had a tuxedo and a little table beside him. And this guy was standing there, and he was kind of staring at a newspaper. Now, this is kind of a newspaper. This is the National Enquirer. Any of you read the National Enquirer? Not one honest person in this entire room. I was like, how many of you read all the headlines when you're at the grocery store buying all your groceries in the checkout line? Read your head. Oh, a lot of you. Well, here's what happened. When I turned the page of the magic book, there was another pencil sketch of that same magic guy, but he was holding that paper a different way. And I turned the page, and sure enough, all that guy did was it looked like he just kept taking that paper and holding it a different way. And then when I wasn't even reading the words, I watched what that little magic guy did, and he took that paper and tore it. And man, I turned the page again, and all that guy did, that little magic picture just kept tearing that paper until it didn't look like you could tear it any smaller. Man, he had little bitty pieces in his hands, and I remember him taking all those pieces like that, and he kind of wiggled his fingers, and I remember he had lightning bolts coming from his fingers in that book. And what it looked like was that paper, well, what it looked like was, it looked like it kind of started gluing itself back together and getting a little bit bigger. And I remember him wiggling his fingers at that paper, and what it looked like was that paper just, well, it looked like it just kept gluing itself back together and getting a little bit bigger. And you know, I didn't know anything about magic or comedy or entertainment or anything like that. I knew that there I was in this attic. Hey, you betcha. I watched that guy just thumbing through that. And you know, I never learned how to do that stupid old trick either, man. But I says, if I could do that, I'd be on a Caribbean cruise somewhere. Well, glad to have you here, you know, and I got bit by the magic bug as a kid. And I picked up that old magic book, and underneath it, man, there was this big old box of cards. Had tape wrapped around it 1 billion times, and on the front of it, it said mind reading questions. Play a little game. Don't shout out the answer, but play a little game in your brain. Try this. Pick a number between 1 and 10. Any number between 1 and 10 to yourself. Now who picked 7? Raise your hand nice and high. Right? Look how many hands go up. 80% of the people pick, the brain loves the number 7. I don't know why it does. It just does. Now change your mind and pick another number between 1 and 10. Pick a different number. Who picked 3 this time? Raise your hand. If they pick 7, they pick 3. I don't know why they do. They just do. Pick a vegetable. Any vegetable. Think of vegetable. Carrots. Where are you, carrots? Raise your hand up. Look at all the hands. Well, you know what I found out? I said the brain has favorite choices. They might not be your favorite choices, but the brain has favorite choices. It likes to pick. And I couldn't bring that old ugly box of cards here, but ma'am, you don't have to come up here, but would you mind helping me? What's your name, please? No? Your name's No. Hi, No. How are you? I know your cousin Maybe. Nice to have both of you here. Tell me your name, please. Kathy. Is that with a K and a Y or a C and an I or K and a Y? See, I know things like that. Kathy, did you see this box of cards? Just say yes. It makes it go faster for everybody here, okay? You see that big box of cards? I'm going to throw them to you. Just catch them. Would you hear they come? Good. Now hold it up and show everybody in the audience the box of cards, all right? Perfect. All right. Now open the box and take out all the cards, would you? And hand the box to your husband. Then he won't laugh at you because he's holding the box there. Just hold the box there. Don't lose it. You go crazy looking for it later on, okay? Have you ever shuffled cards before, Kathy? Then mix them up a little bit. Would you Now, fan them out like you were going to have somebody pick a card, you know. Is there anybody around you that you don't know? Anybody that you don't know other than your husband? Just maybe your husband, business trip. I'm not sure what it is nowadays, but just ask somebody around you to pick a card, would you? Not me. I've already seen this before, but just somebody around you. Hi, sir. What's your name? Charlie. C-H-O-L-L-Y. Hi, Charlie. How are you? Nice to have you here. You don't drive a trolley, do you, Charlie? Nice to have you here, Charlie. Look at the card, Charlie. No, the front of it. The front. Turn it around where you can see what it is. It's Where are you from, Charlie? Brooklyn. My dad's from Brooklyn. Nice to have you here. Now tell me, is it a red card or is it a black card, Charlie? Red. It's red. Hand it to somebody you don't know. Would you? Somebody you don't know. Anybody around you that you don't know. Everybody's dodging you now, looking away like, please don't pick me. There's a brave soul. What's your name, miss? Kim. Hello, Kim. With a K and a Y like this? K-Y-M or K-I-M? K-I-M. Nice to have you here. Could be C-H-Y-M by like Charlie, but that's a different thing altogether. But Kim, look at the card. Is it a red card? Indeed it is. Thank you for agreeing to this nice man. And it's either a heart or a diamond, isn't it? Or a diamond or a heart, whichever way you like to look at it. Tell everybody here, do you have a diamond or a heart in your hand? I have a diamond. You have a diamond. Show the card to the lady sitting next to you. Ma'am, is it a diamond? It is. It is? And where are you from, Kim, by the way? I'm from Washington, D.C. My mom's from Washington, D.C. Wow, nice to have you here. What a coincidence. Ma'am, is that a diamond? You said it was. Which card in the diamond suit, which card is it that she's got hold of? It's a 7. Look at the card, Kim. What's the card? It's a 7. It's a 7. She lies about it and you swear to it, but this is okay. Hand the card back to Charlie, would you, Kim? Give it back to Charlie. Charlie, what's the card? Looks like a 6. 5,000 manholes in Grand Turk, and you drop in here tonight, but this is okay. It's No. Maybe you picked 2 cards and they stuck together, Charlie. Just separate pull them apart. Do you have 2 cards there now when usually there's only 1? Okay. How are you going to get out of this one? Okay, let's think real quick here. Turn them both face up where you can see both the cards, so you can see the 6 and the 7 there, okay? Did you go to sleep, Kathy? Sorry, I didn't mean to put you to bore in here. Fan the cards back out again, would you? Now, Charlie, put those cards back in the deck here, but put them face up. Don't put them, I want to be able to see them, okay? Let him put the cards in there, would you? Put the cards in there, face up. Now then, look at the deck. Is there 2 cards? Usually there's only 1, but is there 2 cards face up in there? There is. And what are the 2 cards? The 6 and the 7 of diamonds. Oh, you did wonderful. What an amazing day. Put the cards back together. Would you give her the box back, sir? Give her the box. Don't laugh at her. You've been holding the box 5 minutes, but we've all been there before. But hey, put the cards in the box and do the top over on it where they don't fall out. Go ahead, do it. Now, Charlie, lean over so she doesn't hit you with her backswing. Kathy, throw the cards back up here to me. Toss them up here. Throw them up here. And pow it. It was the ugliest box of cards I'd ever seen in my life. Give my 3 friends a big round of applause for helping out here, would you? Kim, Kathy, Charlie. And I found this box of cards 38 years ago in my grandpa's attic. And I picked it. I said, man, how come those cards are so big? I remember him saying, he says, you know, whoever owned them used to be hard of hearing, I guess. I don't know. I never understood that myself. But anyway, what I remembered was I picked up that box. And I opened it up, and I didn't know anything about entertainment or something like that. But what it looked like was, it looked like all these cards were in here were all facing one way, except for this card that was in there, like that 7 of diamonds. And I said, hey, hold on. I said, whatever happened to that crazy old Uncle Charlie we used to have around here? Wasn't his favorite card that 6 of diamonds? See, usually this makes them burst into thunderous applause or it stumps them to absolute silence, and it's nice it worked about 50-50 on you guys here tonight. But because here's how you do this. This is done with a marked deck. You might not be able to see in the back. It's pretty small. Have you ever seen a marked card? Well, what you do on the back of these 2 cards right here is you put little bitty dots there. And I don't know why the brain loves a 6 and 7 of diamonds, but give my friends a big round of applause for helping out there, would you? All right, thank you. So I grabbed that magic book. and I grabbed that box of cards. I was 8 years old, and man, I sped home on my little Schwinn 3-speed bicycle with the tiger paw handle grips, and got to my mom, and I said, man, I found a magic book. And she was watching the Olympics. Mark Spitz, you remember this guy? 7 gold medals. 7 gold, and my mom says, you know, that's an Olympic hero. That's a swimmer, man. She says, maybe you'll be an Olympic swimmer one day. You're tall and skinny, and I didn't know a lot about swimming, but man, we had a big old catfish pond on our farm. And my mom puts me in this rowboat, and I know you heard of people doing this. She rows out to the middle of the water, and she picks me up out of the boat, and she threw me right in the water. Well, once I got out of the pillowcase, I was like, man, it was snug in that bag. That's all I remember there. I got claustrophobia from that little bag here. I had a lot of tragedy in my life. That's why I like comedy nowadays. It balanced all the negative stuff when I was a kid out. You know, my whole family about died. I was a kid. We went to the drive-in theater to watch Closed for the Winter. That was the longest movie I ever saw in my life right there, man. One day I got up on the saddle of this quarter horse. All my buddies dared me, but I jumped up on the saddle, and this quarter horse took off full speed before I was ready, and I fell out of the saddle, and somehow my foot got caught in this rope, and my head was banging on the ground, and man, I thought I was going to die, but this nice lady in the store ran outside and pulled that plug real fast. Saved my life right there. I was like, a quarter horse. It was really a dime when I was a kid, but dime horse didn't work right there, you see. But I remember thinking, man, I said, that's just a funny thing to have happen to you. Weird things happen to you. I remember I was looking out the picture window where I was raised at, little kid, 1904 Ina May. I loved that little house. And my mom and dad was backing up into the driveway in our family car. Because when I was a kid, everybody in the street, everybody had a family car, you know. Now everybody in the family has a car. You know? A little weird, but we had one car, man, 1964 Ford Country Squire station wagon. You remember that? Had a little seat in the back end that flipped up, so when you're a mean little kid, you had to sit in the back seat and stare out the back window all the time. And man, I never got to see where we were going, but I was an expert on where we'd been my whole life, you know. But I saw them backing up into the driveway, and that was always weird because they always pulled in nose first, you know. And I've always been an observant kid. I guess that's why I'm still doing this to this day. But when they were backing up, man, they had this big old cardboard box strapped down to the tailgate. And I remember reading the words, 18-inch, diagonal, Magnavox, cabinet, TV. Man, we got our first big family TV. And not a big screen TV, because the screen was about this big right here, and it had a big box about that big around the outside of it. And kids won't believe this, but you had to get up off the couch and walk across the room to change a channel. Go click, 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 and go sit back down, wait for a while. We didn't have remote controls. Only remote control we had is a little sister. You could get her to go change a channel. You did it the last time, you know, but could you imagine doing that through 200 satellite channels of junk nowadays? Walk back. You don't need that Bowflex or Jenny Craig junk, man. You get all your exercise changing channels all day long. That'd help you lose a pound or two right there, man. But I plugged that old TV in, and I pulled on the power button, and nothing but little snow fuzzies come on the screen. Man, no picture anywhere, so I'm banging the side of the cabinet, and there's no picture anywhere, and then you got to scrunch that aluminum foil on that left-handed rabbit ear a little tighter right there. And the picture came on, right in front, picture came on, and right in the middle of the screen, there was a guy holding a microphone, and he was standing on a big stage like this, and every time he said something, there must have been 10,000 soldiers watching this guy. They all laughed. And man, I got goosebumps. Man, the hair stood up on my eyes. I said, what's that? And my mom says, that's Bob Hope. Says he's doing a show for all these soldiers fighting for your country, man. You'd be proud of that military. I said, you bet I am. She said, that's comedy. And I said, man, I'd love to do that. And Oklahoma, where I'm from, not really the comedy capital of the world. I was teasing earlier about that. We had Oral Roberts, who used to get us a laugh every few years. We appreciated that. But I didn't know much about comedy, but I ran to my bedroom, and I had a big old map on the wall of my bedroom, map of the USA, and I grabbed a dart, and I closed my eyes, and I threw that dart at the map, and pow, it landed right in the middle of San Francisco, California. I thought, well, nobody's looking, throw it again. Well, it was a close call there, man, but anyway, I ran to my mom. I said, man, I'm going to California one day. I'm going to have that warm sunshine and sand between my toes. And she said, turn up the heater and sit in the cat box. And it's not nice when your mom's funnier than you are. And that's what you want to do. But I said, no, man, I'm going to do what they taught you in history class. You remember that old famous saying? What was it? Go west, young man, go west. Horace Greeley made that famous, just in case any of you play trivia around here. But Will Rogers, he's a funny guy from Oklahoma, years and years ago. First mayor of Beverly Hills, California, was a little kid from Claremore, Oklahoma, Will Rogers. And he says, you take a guy from Oklahoma and you move him all the way to California, you can automatically increase the IQ in both states at the same time. Now, half of you'll get that, half of you won't. That's a 50-50 right there. But I remember thinking as a kid, I said, well, how do you know how to be funny? How do you learn how to be funny? Because, man, I saw it on TV. I saw Red Skelton and Jackie Gleason and Lucy Ball and Carol Burnett, funny people, but nobody tells you how to be a funny kid. In fact, you kids know you don't get a lot of rewards for trying to be a funny kid, do you? You say something funny in class in front of the teacher, they don't put you on the honor roll when you're a funny kid. They send you to the hallway for pizza. I fortunately majored in hallwayology as I was going through school. But I was taking out the trash one day, and all my friends were playing, and I hated taking out the trash, but I had 3 sisters. That was my job, taking out the trash. And my next-door neighbor sees me walking out with this big bag of trash. He says, hey, you taking out the trash? I said, no, I packed a picnic for you and your family. Here, take this, would you? And all my friends started laughing. And, man, that's all it took. I heard, and they said, that was funny. I said, what? And they said, well, what you just said to Bill. And I was kind of so mad, I wasn't trying to be funny. But you know when you get asked to do something and you don't want to do it, you're not in the most better mood in the world right there. And you just say something and it just comes out funny sometimes. And I always seem to do that every time I was a kid. I love gourmet meals. My mom's a great cook. State champion pie baker, State Fair, Oklahoma. Another true story for her. And I treat her. We go to Denny's once a month, twice a month. And you been there? They got bug zappers, everything, man. Bzz, I love that sound. But anyway, you can go in there and they got a little sign on a pole that stops you. It says, please wait to be seated. Hostess will seat you. Now, there's nobody in front of you. There's nobody with you. There's nobody behind you. And the waitress sees you standing by the front door all by yourself. So, man, she runs over and grabs about 18 billion menus and asks you that same question every time. Like, oh, hi, how many? Then they say, how are we? And I say, well, we're fine. We're wondering who you're talking to around here, dingbat. And then they put you in a booth and they say, would you care for a menu? I say, no, I'll just sit here and guess what you have tonight. Is that all right? And there's a dry cleaner's down the street from my house. Now, the sign in the window said, drop pants here. Well, I got in a lot of trouble first time I went to this place, man. I put a bunch of clothes on the counter and the lady working there walks out and says, hey, you want your shirts cleaned? I'm like, no, just rip the buttons off and wrinkle them up by 5. Can you do that for me? And just give them a little ride on that merry-go-round. They love that little carousel doohickey, you know. And I figured they'd read the sign. Tells them it says cleaners, not dirtiers. There's your job. Just read the sign, you know. But I love looking around for things that are funny. It's a funny world when you look around, you know. And we were sailing away from Fort Lauderdale the other day, and I went outside to sit on one of these deck chairs after they did that boat drill, and I wanted to start thinking about what to do tonight to talk because, you know, there's a lot of kids and a lot of families. I said I love to see them all having a good time. And just as I was going to sit on this chair, well, there was a bunch of little black dots of something. I don't know what it was, and I didn't want to get it on my suit before dinner. And, well, I didn't see any towels around, but there was a magazine laying on this table. So I just picked up this magazine. I opened up real wide, and I put on the end of this chair, and I just kind of sat back on it. And, man, I'm watching the ship pull out of there that beautiful day. And the guy on this cruise walks over and says, hey, excuse me, are you reading that magazine? I didn't know if I was or not. I was like, what a goober, man. I looked him right in the eye. I just kind of stood up and kind of turned the page real slow and sat back down and said, yeah, I ain't done yet. Let me speed read it for you. Zing, 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 zing. Ow, staple. That hurt, man. But you know, it's a funny world out there when you look around. Lots of funny stuff out there. I got an uncle. Maybe you know somebody like this. I got an uncle. No matter where he goes, he can find something to complain about. And if you don't know somebody like that, it might be you. Just so you know that. Because everybody knows somebody. And I told him, I said,